Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Put On the Armor. Wow, this is the first episode, and it's pretty much exciting. Pretty much exciting because it's something we've planned for quite some time now, and it's good to see it finally materializing and coming into fruition. I am Adrian,
And I'm Alan.
and together we have built this pod show basically to help people talk about things that they're going through their daily lives. Overall in the world, what's going on all over the world, and what is going on domestically, internally, within. We try to get as in-depth as possible, break it down, and just make sure that people understand what's basically going on in the world. And today's topic is really interesting, actually, because it's something that
A lot of people go through.
not just a lot of people go through, but it's something I feel people are kind of like uncomfortable to talk about. I feel like it's left a weird stigma, and it has to do with sleep paralysis.
Yep.
Yep. Sleep paralysis is something, that is has been basically bothering a lot of people. A lot of people are going through this, and it's turned into a norm. Like, people basically just live their lives. Check this out, bro. They live their lives, and they literally just go about their day, But then when it comes to nighttime, when it's time for them to sleep, then it's kind of like a restless situation. So I feel like it's something that we have to talk about, because for me, it's something that I was infatuated by, because I wanted to understand why this is happening. A lot of people have talked about this. I've heard a lot of topics about it, and friends have talked about it, my teammates have talked about it, and I was like, you know what? Let me go in depth and just study this. So I would have not talked about this if it's something I haven't studied. Nope, definitely not. So I went in depth, tried to figure out what is going on, why are people going through this, and I was like, you know what? Okay, now that I've attained enough knowledge on this topic, I can talk about this to an in-depth extent. So, sleep paralysis. What causes sleep paralysis, and how can we get rid of sleep paralysis?
For good.
For good. Yep. For good. Well, first off, we have to let's say, understand why sleep paralysis takes place, right? This is something that I had to discuss in depth with a lady who called when I made a post about this on Instagram. She called to let me know that she's been going through this as well, and it's been bothering her for quite some time now. And she went quite in depth with her story, and explained to me from head to bottom what is going on. And when she let me know, we ended, in prayer. I gave her the instructions, which was basically I had to ask questions first and foremost. Like, what do you do on your day-to-day basis? What do you engage in on a day-to-day basis? And I thought it was really, really important to break those down before we can be able to like actually decapitate, if I can use that term, decapitate the head of the creepy night crawlers. So it's important to understand why this is happening, right? And I figured, well, in order for you to understand, you have to first head to the roots of it. Like, look internally. What are you indulging in on a day-to-day basis that causes this? Because remember, what you engage in the physical, that's just literally what's going to manifest in the metaphysical, in the dream realm, so to speak.
The spirit world.
Yeah, the spirit realm or the dream realm. It's kind of like when you had a bad day, things didn't go well, and then all of a sudden you end up being stressed, and now you're sleeping, but like you're just restless. Basically, you could literally have 6-8 hours sleep, but you basically are not fully rested. So that's why it's important to break down why exactly this happens. And one of many reasons, is the things that you indulge in, activities that you take or you partake in. Basically, what you view with your eyes, what you perceive with your eyes, what you indulge in, unnecessary activities that take place, and those things end up materializing in your sleep realm. So that's like basically one of the things we had to break down with her and let her know. And she reflected quite enough. And so what happened afterwards was I had to instruct her to be able to fast, because fasting, I feel like, is really, really important. Fasting is very, very important because people need to realize this. Like, in order for you to get rid of a dark entity, you have to be able to starve it out.
Yeah.
Which is really, really important. Not a lot of people know about this. It's like they grow stronger with your fear, right? They grow stronger with your fear, and this is one of the things that she made mention when she was letting me know about the situation and her experience. Basically, having one of those nights where she's asleep, and because she has a cat pet, right? And she's sleeping, and all of a sudden she feels this touch on her foot, right? And she figures, oh, okay, it's, probably my cat, coming on the bed. And this, what transpired afterwards was the touch went from her feet, moved all the way to her chest. And she at first she was like, what in the world is this? And then this kind of like dark figure, hag.
Like a tall creature.
Not tall creature, let's say she didn't mention a tall creature, but it was just like a dark figure shadow on her chest. And she's like, what in the world is it? Like, and in fear, you can't do much, right? So she was just startled, just close her eyes and just try to make this go away. she felt like if she closed her eyes, the entity will flee. But here's the thing. Here's what happens when you're scared. When you're scared, these entities grow in strength, right? They feed off of the fear.
Like the movie Monsters Inc.
The movie's Monster Inc. was a good depicted that absolutely, yeah. Monsters Inc. And I think too, Stranger Things kind of touched on that a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas essentially, the entities grow stronger by you fearing them, basically. And I think the movie It too was another movie that kind of touched on this too with the clown. The stronger it grew stronger by the fear of the kids, but when they remembered who they are and just basically armored up, realized that there is strength in numbers and just grew brave. That's when I think the clown got shrinked. So that's basically it. That's what people need to realize, that they have power to eliminate this. But you don't have to be scared of this creature. Because if you're scared of it, then it grows stronger. So I told her that, and I told her that's why it's critically important that you, again, I can't stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. You have to be careful what you indulge in on a day-to-day basis. Make sure that you move with pure intent in anything you do on your physical realm, so that when you go to sleep, there is nothing attached to you that will cause you any harm in your sleep. That's why people wake up in full-blown sweat or a puddle of themselves and they don't realize.
Sometimes people wake up with scratches on their back.
People wake up with scratches. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. People don't even wake up at all. Like, there are people who literally sleep and that's it. They don't wake up the next day. Why? Because they've indulged themselves in the dream realm, where it's like they have done certain things in the dream realm, or accepted something that ended up taking their lives. And scratches that manifest in the real realm. People think this is like, like a fictional kind of thing that takes place. No, this is very, 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 very real. Very, very real. That's why, again, it's important. Again, really, really important to be careful what you indulge in on your day-to-day basis. So I told her that, and I told her it's really important for her to fast, because once you fast, you actually starve out these entities, and it's not just, fasting, like, not eating or drinking, but it's just any activity that you have been indulging.
Like, that pleasures the flesh.
Yeah, exactly. That appetizes the flesh should be eliminated, totally. So this way, these entities grow thin and starve to death. So I told her that she had to fast from 7 in the morning to 6 in the evening, and to get an oil and anoint herself, pray, and ask God to get rid of this, because at the end of the day, whether you want to believe it or not, all this is spiritual. So if it's spiritual, there is a higher power above all of these entities, and that is the truth. And she agreed, because at this point she's tried everything, and she could just basically, whatever help she could get, she would take it. But then a few days later, she contacted me to let me know that, it worked. Things went well. She slept soundly for the very first time in a long time. But now there's something that took place. I was like, what happened? She's like, now that entity has jumped to her cousin, right? I was like, wait, huh? And I reflected. I was like, oh, wait, hold on. I think I know what this is. Because she said like now her cousin is having this entity, and initially she recalled telling her cousin about it, and her cousin just not believing her, but it's more like, oh, I mean, well, that's rough, but partial partially believing, I suppose. So now this entity jumping in her cousin's dream, and I told her, hey, instruct her to do the same thing. But before that, I was like, hold on. If this entity now jumped into your cousin's dream, that means this entity is not by accident, it's not random. I know what this entity is called. And I remember it's called a familiar spirit.
So it's like a generational curse or something.
Yeah, someone in her family bloodline has dabbled with dark stuff, and it's now lingered to the family bloodline. So I asked her like, can she reflect back on any story that maybe her grandparents or her parents may have told her, regarding anything that they may have done that sounded dark. And she thought for a while. There was a pause there. And then she remembered, she said, yeah, my dad told me once that when he was young, he opened this book of magic, and he kind of read some passages of it. And I was like, whoa, wow, huh, well, we think we found the root cause of this. Because it's basically like playing with a Ouija board, right?
Those things are not good.
Those things are not good. Absolutely, because they're gateways to the underworld, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, now we know what we're dealing with. Again, tell your cousin to do the exact same thing. You know, fasting, praying hard, and anointing her head with oil, organic olive oil, to be precise. And she said that she would do that, and she did. Her cousin as well got better. So, I mean, again, it's one thing to take action. It's another thing to just listen to this and be like, oh well, and just write it off, because I feel like people have sort of learned to live. You know how someone has like a haunted house?
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of my teachers in Sweden, she said that she had a ghost who was living with her. It was basically the owner who had the house. He died of a heart attack, and when he died on the couch that was in the living room, right? So she would see him appear on that couch. She literally told us this in the class, and I was like, and she said she felt like a calm presence and peaceful, and she felt like he was a friendly ghost. I was like, no, this is not normal. This is absolutely not normal.
No, it's not.
And yeah, well, that's basically it. While people have trying to kind of like learn how to live with this. But it's not normal. So that's why it's important to take action and find a way to eliminate this, which is fasting it out, basically starving it to death, praying hard. If you don't know how to pray, I would say it's like you can go online and search for prayers, but I feel some of the best prayers too are the ones that come from the heart, internally, and just go down and pray. Ask God, creator of heaven and earth, creator of everything, to get rid of this entity while you anoint your head with organic olive oil and fast from 6 if you can, 7 in the morning, till 6 in the evening. This is really important. This is very, very, very important to do, and try your best to not indulge in things that
pleases the flesh.
Pleases the flesh, and gets you in all sorts of emotions, from being angry to being frustrated to not being able to have confidence in yourself, having self-doubt, thinking negatively every single minute of every hour of the day. Just try your best to be as positive as possible. Dwell in a positive realm. I feel like it's really important. And then from there on out, just try to spread kindness to others. I feel like that's really important. And see how, as an individual, you get to sleep and sleep soundly. Because as athletes, Lord knows we need our sleep. So,
Yeah.
But even if you're not an athlete, you're an everyday person who goes to work and have like demanding careers or what have you. It's important to have a sound sleep. There's a difference between sleeping and actually sleeping soundly and taking a good rest, and not like sleeping and then feeling restless, like you didn't even have a full-blown 8-hour sleep. So it's important. All this put into consideration. Hopefully this reach out to people who kind of like don't know how to deal with this and have been living in constant torment. Hopefully it sheds light to the topic, and if anyone has any questions, they can feel free to DM us for further information. And bro, another thing too. 3 people who share this to their 5 friends, 3 people, right, who share this with their 5 friends, the first 3 people who comment on this post get to have a free t-shirt, a God Mode Studio t-shirt. So it's just because the month of giving is done with doesn't mean like the season of giving doesn't continue. So we're still giving out gifts all throughout 2025.
Yep.
Do you have anything else to say? Do you have anything to add in?
No, not really. I just want them to understand that, like, at the end of the day, we should focus on, like, our prayers before we sleep.
Very important.
Because, like, you never know if you're never gonna wake up again. Like, you could go to sleep and, like, never wake up again.
Yeah, there are millions of people who go through that. And and again, not a lot of people know why this happens, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know why this happens. You sleep and then you don't wake up, and people are like, oh, he died in his sleep, or he had a heart attack or something. No, some of this stuff are like way more deeper than what people understand. So hopefully people get to grasp this and understand that there's more to this than what meets the physical eye. Just because, I often say this too, just because you don't hear the sound in the forest, when the tree falls, doesn't mean that it didn't fall, right?
Yeah.
So, hopefully this helps people. And if there's any questions people have to ask, please feel free to ask, and we'll gladly answer questions. Okay, this was episode 1 of Put On the Armor. This was awesome, out here in the sunny land.
Yep.
I am your host, Adrian.
And I'm Alan.
And we'll see you, you will hear from us because this is an audio pod show. You'll hear from us soon enough. Okay, thanks for listening, guys, and catch you on the next one. God bless. Peace. Much love.